Boom.
And welcome back to Far Cry, everybody. You probably may have noticed there's a slight change in audio quality because myself and Foxy have to continue this session remotely. And the reason for
Ooh.
that was that we had technical difficulties in that our Audacity died.
Yeah.
Um, Thankfully, meaning that the several attempts at this mission had been lost to the ether, which is probably a good thing because let's be honest, Foxy, we're probably about an hour at this in the end.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it was an actual hour. It felt like an hour. I think it was only half that, but
It
yeah,
was a fair amount of attempts done on this
yes.
particular segment. So if it is shorter, thank Christ.
Well, I think this is either the successful attempt or very close to it. As you can see, different strategy. I'm gonna get rid of these some bitches immediately. I think we can all agree that they deserve that.
Yeah.
So yes, this is gonna be weird because we had already commented on this at the time. So if I'm pausing, there's probably would have been a hilarious joke we said that is now lost to the annals of time. So we'll have to try and replicate as best we can. You know,
If we can or if we remember. But
yeah, or just substitute it for a better remark.
mm,
But nevertheless, this is going substantially better than the last ones we've had so far.
like to be honest,
I think
it more
so.
came down to a case of you being stubborn and just like didn't want to budge and try
Pretty
different.
much, yeah. I was just I refuse
I
to
will not be
bow.
beaten by this.
In my head, this works.
I'm trying to remember
Why
this.
doesn't it
What
work?
wasn't that the NPC that got like shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the Fatboy that they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
basically executed, just threw into the sea.
Mm.
And now again, get rid of sniper, which was a strategy we had for the duration.
Mm.
And back in the sea we go.
Under the sea.
Under the sea,
I'm sure that
kill
joke was
Sebastian
made.
instead, leave us our head under the sea.
But I think I did talk about like when we were doing this though, like
Hmm.
the fact that like what I hated most about this game is the fact that the the enemies just have like microscopic lenses and fucking
Yeah.
like super hearing that like they can see you when you shouldn't be seen.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like it's the fact that all of these like how in Metal Gear Solid it pimps out the enemies being like, oh, these are super soldiers. They're
Mm.
genome modified, genetically modified to have perfect sound and hearing, and they don't need food, water. These are those guards
Yeah, yeah.
that we were promised in that
This is
game.
where they went.
Yeah,
Like they
exactly.
weren't in the game; they were here.
Yeah. All the ones on Shadow Moses on that weekend just happened to be temps.
Yeah,
The rest of them went on Mercenary Island for training.
I'm not supposed to be here today.
I'm actually the National Guard. This is really awkward. They just told us to dress in these white coats.
The job title did not say anything about getting shot at.
Nope.
I'm an actor. I've paid for a role.
Just popping out of the closet. I really shouldn't be here.
I'm in danger.
That'd be fucking are. So this is where I think at this point I'm convinced that this is going to be a fucky attempt because there's millions of people looking for me. They know where I am. So this attempt is very much us going back and forth under the sea, hoping that either fucking King Neptune or just the game itself decides to show mercy on us. And then this is after us trying to go out of bounds and then just magically drowning in an invisible wall and going around the other side, going two other sides, trying to avoid a sniper and a rocket launcher, and then everyone else patrolling the beach. Like we really, if anything, like in this attempt, we actually torment these people more than anything else.
This is proper guerrilla warfare. Just popping up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But the problem is, we're not quiet about it.
No, we are not.
It's like,
There's one thing that Jack Carver is. He is the loudest motherfucker on the planet.
like normally
fucking
the idea
down
is
by
to just be like, right, stick and move, get out.
yeah.
But
It's like
to a
being hunted
point-
down by Brian Blessed. Oh. And I'm not sure how. This is also a bit of a bug. The fact that they were able to shoot their guns underwater. That was a bit of a bug, but however,
Well, this to be fair, this game is buggy as shit.
it really fucking is. But isn't that just part of the charm, Foxy? The fact that like they did try to make a good game and they failed miserably.
But I'm still baffled that this got so many sequels. Like
Well,
I don't
I
see the
feel that
same
was
premise
based off
working.
the back of the second game and perhaps number three. I think once number three came out and they kind of got the formula right, that's when people wanted more of the same. And like I said, like this game, like the actual, like theoretically, it's good. It's a fun idea, especially for the time when you're on a game engine that is like someone much more advanced than what's out there. Again, the trouble is just the unnecessary, um, what's the word?
Mm.
The unfair parts of the game, I guess. The guards, some of the level design, the fact that you get stuck on fucking ladders and ledges.
Yeah.
They are somehow the one of the biggest enemies in the game. You know, that should not be, ever. So now we are nearly clear this area. As you can tell from the wonderful little bit of silence we have, peace and quiet.
Yeah, but we've said that before, and
This will explain why I've been extra cagey in this attempt.
mm.
Because I know there's snipers up this way. And as I recall, I've been caught with this guy in particular a few times.
There we go.
And that was a very satisfying bullet to the side of the head.
Almost. Almost.
Yes.
When we discovered that this was where we had to go.
Mm.
Like for med kits
Health.
and fucking
Yeah.
health. Like that was just like a big kick in the teeth.
Mm.
Like after going through all the struggles to try and figure out how to just get that far.
Mm. Because this is
then
also
suddenly-
at the back of a particularly complicated level as well. So you're jumping in from like two real close quarters sections with like grizzles and other stuff, and then suddenly you're in a big open canyon surrounded by guards. Like it's a tough enough level. Like
Especially with the guy that had the microscopic lens like up on that tower.
yeah,
Like and he could see you across the map. It's like, lad, come on.
mm. That in particular is a dick move, especially because not only again was he kind of in a sniper position, but he had a rocket launcher that just constantly reloads in time.
Yeah.
Whereas you had a rocket launcher, you get fumbling with the fucking like you're caressing the rocket every time you're putting it into the chamber, you know?
This is my rocket.
Yeah, I'm not
many others like
overcompensating,
it.
shut your ass.
But this one is mine.
They call me Big Dick Carver. No, not that way. Don't make it weird.
And then when we go into this fucking place,
Yes,
god damn it. This required a few goes as well.
it did. But thankfully, I do believe we did get a checkpoint there. So now we
Yeah,
just
as soon as we go in, like it gave us the save point, but like, but still.
props to that guy for doing the hard work for us, though. To be fair.
Yeah, like I think I mentioned that as like in our next attempt, is like let them do as much of it as possible,
Oh yeah,
because otherwise, like that happens.
yeah. Well, in fairness, there was a guy around the crates there shooting at me, and I just didn't notice
Yeah.
him. So, in
I
fairness,
didn't
it helps
realize
if you
how
actually
many
know
were
where you're
actually
going.
there. So
Like there are two ways to treat this level. Like either like there's almost like both these are the long way in a sense. There's no quick way to get around here.
no,
Like and you let them phase out phase out a little bit, but it's also like you really don't want fuckers like that then shooting at you, you know. And of course, everyone has armor now, so
it's like as basically like, oh, you thought that segment was hard? Well, fuck you.
it doesn't get any easier from this one out, like you know.
It's like ready, steady, fuck you. Ah, definitely have to keep that. Like that's
That's going on a fucking t-shirt, according to you.
Yeah.
We have to gotta pay him royalties for that, you know.
Oh yeah, you'll get the shadow.
Is our lame attempt to throw in a grenade? That worked out well.
It's like trying to throw it with your bad hand.
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing. Because that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Like he's throwing with his non-dominant hand if he's holding a assault rifle.
Ah.
So because these are the elite troopers here, so they have proper body armor. So if you're basically shooting them head on, they do substantially less damage. So you have to either aim for the head or shoot them in the back.
Or the zombies.
Which is upsetting the fact that it took us that long to figure that out. Again, fella, I would not be worried about me. There's a 10-foot monster around the corner you might want to deal with. Now I hide. No one can trouble me when I'm in the crate.
I'm the hide and seek champion.
as much as we joke, we almost certainly are not that in this game. Stealth is a quaint concept that happens to other players.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Take that!
It's like, no!
Just
fucking wild dog.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like it here.
I'll see you in the sequel.
That's his ninja smoke technique. Just like blow shit.
Blowing himself up.
Yeah.
I suppose it works for some. I have to laugh that even the ricochets just need to work for these fuckers.
I don't know if you ever played it, but shit.
That's unlucky.
But I don't know if you ever played it. 007 Tomorrow Never Dies on the PlayStation.
I haven't actually, no.
So
I don't think I played any of the Bond games actually.
So after GoldenEye, like this was the next one that came out. And it was for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
But it was instead of being first person, it was third person. So.
Yeah. I remember seeing like clips of it and so forth. I know of the game, just never played it.
I enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed it. I think it was one of the only like at the time it was one of the only like kind of first person shooters that I actually like cleared all the way.
And it's also nice to see a tie-in game actually like designed well. Because those things have such a quick turnaround. They don't normally get good before you get released.
No, but this was actually good. Like I had a good variety. Had some of the locations from the movie as well as a couple of extra ones, as you do.
Of course,
you're obligated to have it. You even had like an obligatory fucking ski scene. You know?
Oh yes, I remember that now. I remember seeing that
segment where you could do tricks as well. It was random. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna just throw in some like tricks here because I'm James Bond.
Can you source me a cool skateboard? No, don't ask questions. Why?
What else did it do in this one? But yeah, like the fact that like you visit, I think there was a level in it that you would visit twice. So you'd see it early in the game, but then you'd go back to it later on.
Yeah,
and it'd be a lot more trouble the second time around.
That's efficient enough as well, isn't it? Like, oh, we have this really nice map. Let's use it twice.
Not only that, I genuinely liked that movie as well.
Yeah.
And I like the soundtrack for it. So
yeah, that era of Bond movies were actually quite good, I remember.
Yeah,
I quite like Brosnan's Bond. Yeah. Because you had GoldenEye, which was quite good, and you had Tomorrow Never Dies, and I think Die Another Day was probably the worst of the three, but still not bad, you know?
No, it was so you had GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough.
Oh yeah.
Which that was okay. They they end up switching back to first person for that one, and during in that you actually have to do a mission where you play poker.
Oh god, that is a
Yeah,
pet peeve of mine.
like because you were in the casino, you had to earn
Yeah.
a certain amount before you could actually move on.
Oh no, I totally get that, but like on this channel, the Sierra, the longtime game designers in their old games used to program in card games to fluff out the to pad out their games.
Mm.
And I'm not even joking. Even when the first time they did it, the poker game is literally the last third of the game,
Oy.
and you have to collect, like, say you start off at $10, you have to collect like 500.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is, then they draw reference to it, they joke about it in like in a game, a couple of series. I don't know what happened there. In a couple of sequels later, and they go, "Oh, remember that time that you had to get all this money from this casino?" Ha ha ha! 5 minutes later, what are you doing? You're playing fucking video poker, doing the exact same fucking thing.
Yep.
Bastards.
Callback, as they say.
Yeah, but it was also them trying to be like funny about their bad game design by just doing it again, but more.
I also found it weird in this game that you couldn't like really melee attack. So you
Well,
couldn't just charge in,
have a
bang.
weapon, yeah, yeah. You need an actual weapons to do it. So the machete is the weapon of choice, but again, that requires you getting up in their grill and slashing. So it doesn't really work for most levels. Like,
No.
it works for the close combat game levels, absolutely. But that's also on the presumption that no one sees you and you don't get fucking hit in the back, like what's happening here. Like, there are just some situations in the game where just stealth is just not an option, and I defy anyone who says they tried to do stealth only in this game. It's just not possible unless you've knocked the AI down to easy. And again, what's weird about this, we've had this in other missions as well, in the previous session, was that, like, the AI is quite inconsistent in that, like, it might target you the first time, or not the second time, and vice versa. So it's very dynamic in a sense. So essentially, just like clearing some of the levels just comes down to don't look.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Like, half these bosses, the guys just like kind of just kill themselves immediately, whereas another time you wouldn't have got that opportunity, or just walk into your line of fire, which is also quite helpful. I'll be honest.
Or get really lucky that, like, when you turn the corner, they're right on the.
Yeah, right on the crosshairs. Yeah. I think they shot a grenade up my ass.
Yeah. And it's always as soon as you turn around, that's when someone just magically pops out. It's like, yeah, haha, forgot about me.
Well, it's like some of these guys have absurd ranges as well.
Mm.
You know. And oh, this is where I thought there was a fucking there was a
like
passageway down the corner here, but it's actually just wall. The texture was so fucking bland that I thought it was a corner.
It was because we realized we had to take down that hanging fucking like container.
Yeah, that's a way of hiding in the level, I think. So like if you take that down, then you can as you go under, and that's the way to progress, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, you have regardless, you have to go down anyway.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Because the doors don't open.
Yes, that's right.
And that's why they made they put a lot of emphasis on the fact that, like, the floor was actually like caved in a bit.
Yeah, we've had that before, in fairness. So yeah, that probably should have been telegraphed.
Because, like, looking at that there, it's just, and it's close to a door. So, but they don't make it too obvious where it's like, oh yeah, like, you need to use this. Like, it just looks like you could just use it to clear some of the enemies, maybe.
Perhaps it's also assumed that, like, maybe in the chaos that maybe that the hole does actually just appear anyway, you know. And like I said, like, this is not knowing at the time.
I think when we did the original run through, like that also got me as well. Like just there.
Just like surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say you were a bit on your nerves for this session.
Yeah, just because I don't like that shit. Like
No.
that's why I don't play like horror games. Like I'm fucked. Like
Yeah, the horror games are cheap. Cheap. The horror games that do that now are just cheap. Like that's there's no art in that.
I always find it eh. Like I've no problem with a game being a horror game, but
Mm,
it has to really like work for it.
yeah.
Like I'd rather like the suspense be built up, you have the right kind of music to go with, and then the
Mm,
right actual like scare.
yeah.
Whereas like a lot of games nowadays just rely on that cheap fucking like jump scare.
But it's also the kind of the not to sound like an old man here, but it's the kind of proverbial YouTube generation of it as well. It's that like it works for traffic, it works for clickbait, it works for the stuff like that. So like
Yeah.
for every horror game, I think that actually puts effort into its actual, shall we say, themes and content and stuff like that, there's always going to be a Slender or a Five Nights at Freddy's. Whereas like Five Nights at Freddy's, I'd actually defend because there is actually quite a lot of backstory to it that is actually quite well thought out. It kind of
Lore is
marries
fantastic.
together.
Like then like to have so much like world building
Mm,
and so much like Easter eggs for someone who's willing to actually really look for it.
yeah,
Like I've never seen someone actually utilize the fucking like the source code in order to hide Easter eggs.
yeah.
Like and that to me that's like actually fantastic. Like never would have thought to like oh yeah encourage people to actively look at the source code. Just
Mm.
like fuck. But
But that again, that's also knowing the audience as well, and knowing that people are going to look into stuff and trying to find patterns and all this sort of jazz. And that's again, that's all part of the excitement, you know. But like even from my own side, if I'm playing all different kinds of horror game on the kind of Call of Cthulhu series, it's a nice little taster of what we've done. But we haven't actually done any jump scare like horrors because in a weird way they don't really work for us, you know.
have you
Whereas like
played
if
the
like
likes of Condemned or
we haven't got the
that
condemned yet. It's always an option because we kind of do it like a random choice. So condemned would certainly be a possibility, but we would have done something like geez, we've done like all the kind of Lovecraftian games that are kind of a. I suppose you can kind of put them under a category of cosmic horror, cultish horror, whichever one you want to call it. Um, then you got ones that are more psychological in nature.
like
So you like your Sanatorium, which is a great horror game, and
what
plays
about
exactly
Outlast?
like a movie actually. Um, what else have you done? Then there's the likes of Deadly Premonition, which is just Twin Peaks done by a Japanese designer, you know,
Yeah.
and that is just, but that's just like deliberately offsetting. And now our next venture is I Had No Mouth and I Must Scream, which is from the brain of Harlan Ellison, who is just one of the most fucked up writers out there. So that's probably our grimmest entry to date, actually.
Like
Like it's not even the actual horror is just the sheer amount of serotonin you're going to lose by playing that fucking game or reading the short story.
like the like I remember when a conscience like fucking he played Outlast
Mm,
and what was hilarious is that like I had said it to him like
mm,
while he was playing it he was in the early part of it but we came across this segment and it's like it's about to happen
mm.
and
You know it's going to happen.
oh yeah it's full well it's like right they're gonna there's gonna be a jump out now like here
Mm.
in this section but the problem was is that like it didn't happen when it was supposed
Yeah.
to you would think it would happen so
Yeah, I
like
remember that. I remember seeing a playthrough of it and I thought the exact same thing. It was like, this is the jump scare room. Like, this is where you're going to see the jump scare. And then it happens like 5 minutes later. It's like,
yeah
motherfuckers.
because
Yeah.
like you know something's gonna happen here. The problem is that like it doesn't happen here.
Mm.
It happens 5 minutes later because you forget about it.
Yeah.
You forget about it. You go off and you do a bit more, but you have to backtrack. And when you backtrack, that's when it
Mhm.
fucking happens and it
That's when it
catches you
happens.
off
Yeah.
guard.
I
And
think. the way I describe it is like the difference between the fear of something happening and the paranoia of something happening. So
Mm-hmm.
like Silent Hill is one of those ones that really master the paranoia of it, where like you know there are enemies around, you can hear them shuffling and groaning and all this sort of stuff, but they're not interacting with you at all.
Mm.
And that's where that kind of it hits a different receptor for me, and I think it's actually more of an effective receptor because it's making you anxious and nervous about something that's going to happen. Whereas at Outlast, it's like, oh fuck, panic, adrenaline, come down, and we're back to normal. You know, the kind of way. Whereas with Silent Hill, your heart rate's kind of going at a more consistent basis. Like, I don't know what's going to happen next. You know.
Mm. They refer to it as like psychological horror, and
Yes,
it
exactly.
does
Yeah.
it messes with your head
Mm,
because yes, granted, like nowadays when people play it, like they know
mm.
how where things are, what's going to happen. But at the time, nobody knew anything about it. Like internet
No.
was still really new, and you didn't get that much information about the game. So the I think the genius of and why it's so uh, it lives so fondly in people's like hearts is because like they live through like all the scares in there, no surprises, like,
Yeah.
and I mean by like no spoilers of the surprises.
Mm. Yeah.
You
That's fair. Yeah.
the only way you found out about these things was by playing the actual game.
Yeah.